Well, folks, we're 10 days away from pitchers and catchers reporting. Eric and I just got through sitting down with one of your starting nine, and we'll release that interview on the 12th of this month. Let's talk about a myriad of things on this edition of Locked On Astros.
Welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on X at Eric Talks Stros. You find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Brett, where can I find you at?
They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on X, Instagram, and TikTok. They can find me at Stros411 on X, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive, always Stros.
Guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to us. Go ahead and make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify. Wherever you check out your podcasts, go and check us out. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. New customers join today and get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started today. So there's a lot of stuff that we're going to cover in today's show. I know, Brett, you got the chance to go to Tristar show and you got to interview Joe Espada and a couple other people. We'll go and talk about that. Phil Maton, he is no longer a Houston Astro. He did sign somewhere else. We'll talk about that. Also, the Mariners are going to get reinforcements. They've made 2 trades over the weekends to make themselves a better team. So let's go ahead and talk about the Tristar show.
Yeah, definitely. You know, Tristar is a show that I've been going to since, I was in high school. That's my dad, actually, probably junior high. My dad and I, have had the opportunity of meeting guys like Mickey Mantle, Hank Aaron, Barry Sanders. I could name them all, but it would take me literally probably 5 or 6 minutes to name everybody I've met. So Jeff Rosen, I actually got to meet him for the first time, the guy who started Tristar. And I went Friday. I got my credentials, and I got to talk to Joe Espada. I got to talk to Spencer Arrighetti. We'll share a couple of those clips when we get to our next segment or two. But it was great. I was actually the only person in the media pool that got to interview Johnny Bench. And my dad was my cameraman this weekend, and he got to shake Johnny Bench's hand. I snapped a picture with them, because my dad's always looked up to him. My dad and I actually attended his last major league game that he ever played, and it was in the Astrodome. So that was a phenomenal experience. I also got to meet Nico Collins from the Texans. I got to meet Jalen Milroe, the quarterback for Alabama. Was super impressed with those guys. Got to shake Warren Moon's hand, see Jose Canseco. Now, I wasn't there today. If you're listening on Sunday if you're listening Monday, on Sunday, they had Draybeck, Doran, Cedeno, Yainer Diaz, Jeff Bagwell, Biggio, Dusty Baker, Roger Clemens, Reggie Jackson, Ryan Presley. They had a lot of Astros, Astros legends. I didn't get to get there today because of family obligations, but the Tristar show was great. Whenever they come to town, y'all should definitely check it out. But I'm excited to share the comments from the questions that I got with Joe Espada and Spencer Arrighetti. Was impressed with meeting them for the first time as well.
I know a lot of attention was given to Dusty Baker as his return back to Houston after he retired from baseball. Now he's back in a special advisory role with the Giants. He said that this is a way that he can stay close to home and stay in the game. So it's kind of a way to have his cake and eat it too, so to speak, where he's still doing what he wants to do, but he doesn't have to fly all the way to Houston and be away from everything. So he said that he's not quite sure what his role is with the Giants yet. He said the Giants organization has changed a lot since the last time he's worked there. I would think so. It's been a while, but he looked like he's happy. He looks like he's where he wants to be. And so I'm happy for him. I know that he was exactly what the Astros needed, especially after the scandal. And so I'm glad that he's there, but I'm glad that Joe Espada is now the Astros manager. And I like to see that you have Roger Clemens there, Craig Biggio there. There's just a lot of cool names there.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to play one of the clips from, Joe Espada and his quotes. You have to excuse the little intro music I did for the Now earlier, but if y'all haven't seen it, this is Joe Espada. And I had actually asked him a couple different questions. I only put one of them in here. I'm going to compile both his and Spencer Arrighetti's interview and just release all of the questions that were asked to him. And I'm going to put those in a couple of different episodes throughout the week so people can see that. Do we want to go ahead and play the Joe Espada quote, or do you want to hold off on that?
You can go and do it now.
All right, let's go and do it.
H-Town will high, going for the throne.
Massive year, big expectations, but you have a connection with the club, which I think gives you an advantage. What is it like to continue this culture that you've seen grow up, and what's it going to be like to continue to see? We've got Spencer Arrighetti, we got prospects coming up. How important is that for you just to keep that rolling?
Super important, and I think you touch on something that we forget about. What have made us so successful is we have our core players that have been here for 6-7 years, but we also have some players that have come through the ranks the last couple of years who have come in and step up and play big roles in what we have tried to accomplish, which is, again, go back to World Series. So there's a new generation of really good players coming up, and my job is to make sure that not only they become good Major League players, but understand what our culture, what it's like to be a Major League player, and what it takes to win every single day at the Major League level.
Eric, he, everything he talked about is exactly what you want to hear from a manager. Super impressed with his demeanor. He looks you in the eye when he talks to you. He genuinely answers a question. You don't feel like you're wasting his time. So that was definitely a great experience. I can't wait to share the rest of the interview from some of the other people that were there. Full Steam Ahead podcast was there. Ari Alexander was there. Joe Gleason was there. So that was neat to be around them as well.
I know a lot of people don't give the Astros farm system, but that's the Astros manager saying that we do have a lot of great talent coming up. I know Baseball America has the Astros farm system number 29. ESPN has them at 27. So we don't know what MLB Pipeline has them yet. I don't think they've released their overall yet, but we know that the Astros farm system is a little bit thin because of the fact they've been a winning franchise. When you're a winning franchise, you're going to have to trade for players like Justin Verlander, and you're going to lose some prospects. You also have the penalties for the sign stealing. You had to lose some picks there. So the Astros are where they are because they have been a good team. And so now it's up to Dana Brown to bring up the prospects who are ready and then have a good draft and have another good draft and go ahead and get some people in national market as well. So I think that's what the Astros have been doing. And apparently, Brett, I did not know this, but according to the San Francisco mayor, today is Willie Mays Day. It was officially announced.
Because it's 2/4/2024. His number was 24. So that was awesome. I actually saw Willie Mays' son interviewed on MLB Network. Robert Flores talked to him, and they just said it was a time. It's just neat. He said, people continue to honor my father. He played the game the right way. And he's one of the top 3 or top 5 baseball players of all time. So hats off to the Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays.
Yes. And I know Joe Espada has a lot to think about before spring training. And I know we talked about Josh Hader versus Ryan Presley, who's going to be the closer. That's going to be his biggest ordeal because Ryan Presley has been there for years. And then you have this new kid who said he doesn't really care if he's going to be a closer or not. But as we talked about before, you're paying this dude $95 million. You're not paying him to come be a setup guy. So nope. I think that there's going to be some days where you might see Presley get saved because Hader pitched the day before, or maybe because of matchups. But there's a lot of stuff that Joe Espada has to really get together. And So it's kind of hard to make that bet right now, but that's what
Yeah.
spring training is for. And so in a second, we'll go ahead and get to Spencer Arrighetti. What should we expect for this season for him? And will he come up? And we'll go ahead and talk more about Phil Maton and Mookie Betts. What did he say? Not necessarily about the Astros, but about baseball. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Hey guys, thank y'all for tuning in to Locked On Astros. H.M. Wellhouse here, FanDuel.com/locked on. Look, I want to tell you about FanDuel. I just want to say this. Happy Super Bowl, everybody. Celebrate this with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. If you're like me, Super Bowl Sunday is all about scoring the best seat on the couch, grabbing your favorite football snack, and placing some super awesome bets. That's right. I can tell you right now that you are going to want to know what is going on because you can bet on a whole variety of things from the Super Bowl. FanDuel has so many ways to end the season with a W or 2 or 3. Why not? Not only can you bet on who will win Super Bowl 58, which is in Las Vegas, but FanDuel has ways for you to bet outside of the norm, like which players will score a touchdown, how many points will be scored. I don't know what all the prop bets are going to be. How many seconds will Taylor Swift grace the TV screen? There's so many things, but new customers join today. You'll get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. That's right. Just visit FanDuel.com/locked on. Just sign up today. That's FanDuel.com/locked on. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day, whether it's on YouTube. Go and subscribe to us, but go and check out Locked On Sports Today. It's the first ever 24/7 streaming channel out there. It's got NFL, NBA, MLB, whatever you want to know, 24/7 streaming with all the experts from across the nation that Locked On has to offer. So check out Locked On Sports Today, and hopefully we'll get some Astros news up there throughout the year.
So, Eric, hold up. Did you just put a hat on?
Yes, I did that because it's a Space Cowboys hat.
I like
it's
it.
Spencer
I like
Arrighetti,
it. That's what I
so-
thought. I was wondering if there was a connection. So if you're listening, another reason why you need to watch, because you see hat changes like this. Eric, going with the theme of Spencer Arrighetti and the Space Cowboys. Good job.
Yes. So I know a lot of people right now are kind of talking about Cabbage and what he's going to offer to the Astros farm system. Jacob Melton, is he still where is he ranked? He's not ranked in the top 100 MLB pipeline prospects and everything. Spencer Arrighetti, he's not ranked there as well. But Spencer Arrighetti, he has a bright future. He's one of those guys that Dana Brown has really pointed out and said, this guy is going to be in the Astros rotation. At some point, he's going to help us. And a lot of people have said he could be a sleeper for Rookie of the Year. He's still got a lot of room to grow, but will he get a chance this year? Because don't forget that we do have Lance McCullers. Oh, we forgot to put this in the notes. Lance McCullers is reporting to spring training.
I know, Eric. Let's.
He's
Eric
reporting.
Eric and I had this discussion on our way to our interview that we recorded tonight, released on the 12th, and remind you. And we were talking about this, and I was like, it's kind of weird how they announced it because they made it sound like it was like Lance McCullers coming out of injury type party, right? And then you literally said, but he literally has to report because he's on the roster. Yeah. So, I mean, come on, guys. But people jumped all over it. Oh, what the heck? Wow, he's reporting. And I'm like, don't rush it. Don't rush it, Lance. But, I was super impressed with Spencer Arrighetti, Eric. Having interviewed 20-plus players in this organization, every time I interview a pitcher, it's just a breath of fresh air because we've got such cerebral guys. And that's when guys don't pan out, when they get DFA'd, when they get traded. It kind of bums me out, especially if I get to know them on a level where I get to ask some questions, talk in person. But Spencer's focused. I'm telling you right now, I'll be shocked if he did. I don't know that he's going to get Rookie of the Year votes, but he has a chance to come in and make a difference like Hunter Brown did when he came in and helped the Astros win a World Series.
Yes. So I know Spencer Arrighetti, he pitched in 2 different leagues last year. In Double-A, he was 7-2 with a 4.15 ERA. He had 79 strikeouts and 60 innings. His WHIP was 1.17, which is pretty good considering the Texas League is kind of a hitter's league with the air and everything. So also in Sugarland, he was 2-5 with a 5.64 ERA. He had 62 strikeouts and 64 innings. So the WHIP went up quite a bit to 1.328. So the home runs went up a little bit. The walks went up a lot in AAA. The strikeouts went down. So I think he was adjusting to the better quality hitters in AAA. And you're going to see that because you can only dominate at a certain level, and then you have to move up and make the adjustments. That's what's going to happen. That's what Hunter Brown, he's going to have to make those adjustments this year because as dominant as he was his rookie year, he looked at times like he was over his head last year. But he's adjusting his pitching. He's come up with a new pitch. The Astros are working with him. He's working on it, and he's going to make that adjustment.
Right. And, he talked about it. I actually talked about this with Kyle Dowdy the other day. And, Hunter Brown didn't realize that the fatigue he was going through actually changed his mechanics. And he said it was so subtle. He was leaving things like open side, like he was basically throwing beach balls. Spencer Arrighetti's coming in, and he has high expectations for himself as well. And this ball club will prepare these guys unlike any other. And I think Spencer's going to have a good year. And make sure that when y'all are looking at AAA pitchers, that you're not focusing on ERA, because that is not even close to what they're analyzing. They're looking at pitch shapes. They're looking at velocity in different counts. They're looking at what does a guy do when it's 2-2? How does he react when he's down, 1 ball or 3 balls and 1 strike? And how does he come from behind? And so Arrighetti's got all the tools. I'm going to go ahead and play this one quote. I had a question for Spencer. I actually had, I think, more than one, but I've got a clip of Spencer's response to my question.
So, Spencer, you come into a club that literally has gone to 7 straight ALCS. You got guys on the club like Bregman, who's never not been to an ALCS. What is that like for you coming into that? Like, what mindset do you bring? Because, you're the rookie, you go to camp, you're surrounded by Verlander. How do you attack that mentally? Because we know your drive, we know where you want to be. Tell us about that prepping for a big season.
I think that in spring training especially, it's going to be really important for me to just be a sponge with information and knowledge from those guys and get a feel for what the culture is and how they've set up an environment where it's possible to do something prolific like that in the postseason. I think that it's going to be really important for me to try to get to know some of those personalities in the clubhouse and see how they operate. And obviously it's kind of a listen first, speak second kind of thing. You said it for like yourself. I'm a first timer in camp, and I think that most importantly, like you can't have a run like that without great leadership. And you talk about Alex Bregman, you talk about Kyle Tucker, Lance McCullers, Verlander. Like these guys are some of my idols growing up, and now the opportunity to play alongside them is such a big honor that I'm just most excited to learn, I think.
And that's what you want. You want these, like, you want them to come in with confidence, and I think that's what he brings. But he also brings respect, and he knows his place. And I think that's like Hunter Brown's drive to get here and to help them win a World Series was undoubtable. It was, you couldn't deny it. And I'm sorry, undeniable. I said undoubtable. That's not. Is that a word? Is that like a elf from? Anyways, as a Will Smith isn't there or not? Anyways, God, dude, what a long weekend I've had. Dude, my grandson came over, spent the night. That kid has got energy that if I could bottle it, I would sell it to everybody. It's amazing. Getting to meet some of the pro athletes, ask them questions, and then the interview we had tonight. You thought I was going to say who it was. Nope, sorry. But Spencer Spaghetti Arrighetti, he's coming, dude. And I think he's got some nasty stuff. Kyle chronicled that with us last week when I had him on, and so I'm looking forward to it, Eric.
The biggest thing I would take away from his AAA season would be the walks. The 5.1 walks per 9 innings. That was a little bit alarming. That was his above his college, his major everything. That's just something that's not him. So I think that once he finds that control again, I think we'll see Spencer Arrighetti kind of make his rise. And I think he will be with the Houston Astros at some point. But don't forget, we have Luis Garcia coming back at some point, and Lance McCullers reporting to camp, and he's going to be with the Astros at some point. So there may be some roadblocks for Spencer Arrighetti to actually get there, but maybe like Forrest Whitley is embracing, maybe getting started in bullpen is another option. And so in a second, we'll have to go ahead and talk about what Mookie Betts said and look at what happened with Phil Maton, where he's signed, and then what are the Mariners doing? It looks like they're trying to keep up with the Joneses. So we'll talk about that in a second. Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go and subscribe to us. Go and make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Go and check out the Locked On Astros podcast, and go and make the Locked On Sports Today your second listen. 24/7 streaming, all the news that you need, 24/7 day. New York, I'm tired too, but
What are you doing?
NBA.
Hey, look,
I do.
hey, it's okay.
Yeah.
I got you, Eric. Here's the thing. No other channel
Right.
has sports 24/7. Doesn't matter what sport it is. Check it out. And look, I get it. I thought you were distracted by my dog barking in the background. My dog's still outside. Apparently my son forgot to bring him in. So I was like, well, maybe Eric can hear Milo in the background. So sorry about that if that's what threw you off. But Eric, to lose someone like Phil Maton, Stanek's gone, Phil Maton is gone.
He's going to the Rays, by the way, and that's actually a total Rays move because he's probably somebody that didn't cost a lot.
No, right, and he was in he came over with Yainer Diaz, correct?
Mm-mm.
I thought Maton and Diaz came over in the Miles Straw trade. I believe that's what happened. It was Yainer Diaz.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah, you're right.
So, but hey, we got a starting catcher out of it. Yay, I love that. The year of Yainer. And so, you know what, Phil Maton, good job. You will entertain us with your straight face. And I'll remember the promo shirt that I made, Immaculate Coverage, Locked On Astros with Luis Garcia and Phil Maton. I may need to revamp that and get a newer version of it, because that was amazing, Eric. 2 immaculate innings in one game.
Yeah.
And just look, Phil Maton, thank you for everything you gave us. I mean, you won a World Series. He could have won more than one World Series with us, but it didn't happen. So anyways,
don't go punching any lockers now that you're not with the Houston Astros anymore.
That's
and
recommended.
Yes. And unfortunately, of all the 3 guys the Astros lost out of the bullpen, I think Maton was kind of the unheralded guy. He was the guy that he didn't get a lot of attention, but he was there mostly when you needed him. And so I think that if you're looking at what the Astros lost this offseason in terms of the bullpen, I think that he was a big loss. I think you probably could have got him for a lot cheaper, but I think the Astros are looking and saying, well, we can go with stuff that's in-house instead of that. So I kind of teased this earlier, so let's go and talk about this. Mookie Betts basically came out, I think it was on some television network, and said that any team that plays the Dodgers this year, every game they play them, it's going to be their World Series. Game 1 of the season, this is your World Series. Whoever.
Well, at first I thought you typed Brett's talking smack, and I'm like, wait, what am I talking smack about? Oh, it's Betts talking smack.
Yeah.
Well, let Brett talk smack to Betts. Look, Mookie Betts, I respect the hell out of you, dude. Great player. I mean, you're going to be an all-star going to second base. I mean, respect. Look, you won a World Series and cheated and like nobody gives you grief. Respect. Look, hey man, good job. You throw the guy in the clubhouse under the bus. Respect. I get it. But look, Mookie Betts, let me just tell you how the cow eats the cabbage with talking smack from the Dodgers standpoint. Go to Dave Roberts' office on Monday and ask him how it went when he said they were going to win the World Series. The Astros won in 2022, and you guys got bounced in the NLDS. So before you put the cart before the horse, no, it is not our World Series. The last time we played a World Series against LA, let me remind you, it went really bad for LA. So LA, bring your Ohtani, who's not pitching this year. Bring your Yamamoto. Bring your Freddie Freeman. Bring everything. Your Walker Bueller's coming back. Bring it. Bring in the pain. Because if you're in the World Series, when we're in the World Series, we will be equipped with a stud-hitting catcher, Yordan Alvarez, who you gave to us. Thank you, LA. There's so many reasons to thank LA. I almost love LA because I hate them so much. So I'm sorry, Dodgers. I got no love for you. Mookie Betts, I respect you. But respectfully, I'm going to have to say you're full of crap. And when we get out there and beat you guys, I don't want to hear a darn word about it.
All right. So I'm not going to read all the comments, but this comment kind of stood out to me in replying to Mookie Betts. This is from Boston Sports Enjoyer. He said, Mookie Betts might be the first player to go hitless over a full season if this is the case. Because if you say this is the World Series, then so. But I think that's I think what the Dodgers are doing is they are trying to buy another run to the World Series because they like what they did in 2020, and it was a good feeling. Now they want to do it in a full season, and it's tough. You got the Astros that do it without having to go out and. Well, the Astros do have to spend money.
No. You said that was great. You just slid right through it. You said the Dodgers want to do it in a full season. And you just said that. That was great. I'm sorry. I ruined the moment for you, Eric. That was perfect.
I was like, wait, what are you doing?
I'm laughing at you because it was perfect the way you delivered. It was dry, deadpan. Just like, yeah, I mean, we get it. You guys want to win a World Series in a full season. Not a 60-game Mickey Mouse ring type season. I think that ring that they won in the World Series, like if you blow on it, it goes, it's one of those like noisemaker rings. I bet. Sorry, I got no love for the Dodgers, man.
Ohtani is expected to be ready for opening day as a DH, not as a pitcher, obviously, because he's going to probably not pitch the entire season. But thank you, Ethan. He says, love the show. I've been watching for a full year every day. So, guys, become an everydayer, somebody that listens to the podcast every day. Go and subscribe to us, please, and go and make us your first listen. But before we go in the show, I do want to kind of talk about. Oops, sorry. I put YouTube on and I heard Brett over here. I'm like, wait, Brett, you're here. I do want to talk about what the Mariners are doing, and the Mariners may not be done because they are seeing what the Rangers have. They're seeing what the Astros have. I know the Astros are still in the top 5 in terms of favorites going to the World Series again. So I think the Mariners are like, okay, we know the Rangers are going to be good. We know the Astros will be good. We have a good team. We made it to the playoffs last year, but we need to get better. So they made a couple trades. And so one of them was a pretty good trade. They got it Jorge Polanco, right?
I believe so. Yeah. Jorge Polanco. Sorry. I don't keep up with Mariners trades. I'm joking. Yeah. I believe it's Jorge Polanco, which, I mean, look, he's a good player. Mariners, but the Mariners have come into seasons, Eric, the last 2 or 3 years where we're like, oh, they're a problem, and they just don't end up being a problem. I mean,
I always think the Mariners are going to be a problem just because of who they have. They have a pretty young pitching staff. They have Luis Castillo.
They're the almost Rays. Like the Rays are always competitive. I don't care how powerful the Orioles are. I don't care that the Yankees are going to be better. I don't care that the Blue Jays are tooled up. The Rays are going to be there. Like the Rays are, for the loosest use of the term inevitable. The Rays are inevitable. They compete every freaking year. I don't care if their payroll is 30 million or 90 million. They're competing. The Mariners, they talk a big game. They make great preseason videos. They're like, see us rise. We're done. Like, we're writing letters and we're pissed. And it just never,
Right.
It's hard to win in baseball. And this may be, quote unquote, the weakest division, but now you've got the reigning World Series champion Rangers, the Astros, who are projected to get a higher WAR than the Rangers by 10 points, 48.9 to 38.6.
Right.
Just saying, man, Mariners, I need you to be competitive. I need the Astros to be tested so when we get to the playoffs, we can wipe the floor with the competition.
Yes, they also went ahead and traded for Gregory Santos as well.
Okay.
So he is he's actually a pretty good reliever. So their bullpen is also kind of dangerous.
So look at this. Mr. Richard says the Giants will be doing Mickey Mouse at your giveaways when they play the Dodgers this season. Dude, if that's real, I'm loving it. I'm there. I may have to get some from Mr. Bobblehead himself. Hey, it's a great show, man. Eric, I'm excited. Dude, you and I sat down with one of the starting 9 of the Houston Astros. I cannot wait till y'all see this interview. Eric, it was great, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had fun, asked a lot of great questions, got a lot of great interaction, and we can't wait to bring it to you. So make sure you make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Go and check out the Locked On Astros podcast. We will see you tomorrow. Go Astros.
Bury me in the air.